Hi, Danny here. So I want to talk to you about resilience. Now, when we think of resilience, we tell ourselves a story, or we kind of get fed this story of overcoming some great adversity, and we rise through, and we achieve something brilliant, and that is true. That's what resilience is. We overcome adversity, we overcome stress, and we overcome difficult positions, and we overcome lots of stuff, and then and we overcome that, and we come back to normal, and we continue on. And that's what resilience is, just continuing on through difficult situations. But the reality is we actually use resilience far more frequently than these one-off great occasions. We actually use resilience all of the time. If you think about it, throughout the day you're going to be exposed to these micro stresses, if you like, all throughout the day. So you might, I don't know, get cut up. You're driving to work, someone might pull out in front of you, or something like that. You're going to get to work, something hasn't gone quite right. I don't know, you get what I mean. All these different things happen to us throughout the day. And these micro stresses, if we're not careful, will build up. And if we don't learn to deal with them, then they kind of beat us down. And then at the end of the day, or the end of the week, or whatever, we have to do something to overcome this. And usually what we do through learned behavior is we will self-soothe either through emotional eating, taking drugs, drinking, whatever. It doesn't have to be extreme as that. It could be literally just be sitting at home scrolling endlessly through Instagram or Facebook or YouTube or whatever it is. Whatever it is that helps you hide away from the stresses of life. That's kind of what I'm talking about here. So the question is really, how is resilience going to help us deal with stress and ultimately make us successful? So if you think about a normal state, so we want a normative state. So what is that? It's thinking clearly, it's feeling in control of your life emotionally. And when we go in here and we have like an emotional blip or whatever, sorry, not an emotional blip, something happens to us and it takes us away from this steady state, this little blip, this little movement here. The time it takes us to restore back to normality and continue to keep on going, that's kind of like a measure of resilience, if you like. We can have different types of stresses that are different in magnitude. So for example, a little micro stress like someone pulling out in front of you can be a micro stress, and we can just kind of quickly get over that. Some people don't. I mean, that's where road rage comes in. And then you have something that's really truly significant. So you might be, especially with what's kind of going on at the moment, so you might be facing redundancy, you might be losing your job, you might have bills that are coming out of your ears, you've got no idea, this is a challenging time. And resilience is really going to be really, really called for right now. So if typically we're in a position where we don't cope with micro stresses very often, or when we get to a point where our micro stresses are so stacked up, it becomes overwhelming and we can't cope, and our world starts falling apart, or if something truly significant happens to you that is possibly could be happening right now given the COVID-19 set of circumstances that are kind of going on in the world, it's very easy to all of a sudden just feel very overwhelmed, and like our life and our world is gonna crash, and what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to hide away until that horrible feeling removes itself, and then we can carry on. But this could take days, it could take a long time. Then you're in that other world then of feeling bad that you've lost a day, and so on and so on and so on. So what we want to do is we want to learn how to deal with stresses. And how we learn to deal with stresses is by basically making ourselves stressed, not hiding away from this, but actually learning how to cope with stress. So let's just go back. Let's go back to the micro stresses, something we can all be familiar with. So for example, like let's say, you're going about your day at work and stressful things are happening. What we'll do is we will have learned somehow, somewhere, to sort of like self-soothe. So that could be through emotional eating. So you're gonna snack on things to make yourself feel better, or you're gonna sort of scroll away on your phone, or you're gonna do something that's gonna make yourself feel better. Now, what this is doing is basically like externalizing or exporting, if you like, those feelings and letting something else deal with it, so you don't have to. The uncomfortable thing to do is to actually deal with it and learn how to deal with it. So the more that you learn how to deal with these micro stresses, when something really happens and you're already prepared on how to actually deal with it, you have the confidence within yourself to deal with these situations. Let's take another example. I think everyone can relate to this. And me being, I've been in the fitness industry and the health industry for a really long time, so I've dealt with it a lot. Basically, every Monday, without fail, the entire Western society decides that they want to get fit, okay, and they want to get healthy every Monday. And basically, what happens is we project this idea that we're gonna meal prep and we're gonna do this and this and this, and we hold ourselves to an impossibly high standard. And then when we don't achieve those high standards, something really small or minor could happen. Let's say, for example, you're going to go to work, but because you're on some sort of like crazy calorie deficit, then your tolerance to adverse things is much lower. So then we actually sort of like go ahead and eat the chocolate bar or whatever. And then we feel so bad that we failed and we've let ourselves down, we've let everyone down, we've let our fathers down, our mothers down, or friggin' everyone's disappointed in us. And then to get over that, what we do is we kind of just go like, oh, screw it, never mind. We'll start again Monday. Monday will be better. Next week will always be better because next week is always better, right? It's never always better. It's always the same thing. But that's what we tell ourselves. That's the story that we tell ourselves to make ourselves feel better. Now, the correct way of dealing with this is, one, first of all, don't go on some crazy calorie deficit, change behaviors. But actually how we deal with this is actually acknowledge the fact that it's kind of gone a bit wrong. Accept it's gone a bit wrong, and then move on. Accept what's happened, rather than doing our learned behavior, which is, pushing it back or diving into something else that's going to remove the uncomfortableness away from us. The counterintuitive thing to do is actually learn to live with the uncomfortableness and learn to deal with the uncomfortableness. If we can learn behaviors to behave one way, we can certainly unlearn them or learn a new set of behaviors to respond in a different way. We're going to go about how to do this much later on down the line in another video. But for today, let's talk about resilience. The quicker we learn to accept these situations when things go wrong, the quicker we can get back to normal and the quicker we can go on and keep on going. Now there's a couple of ways we can actually do this. The first thing we need to do is firstly acknowledge when this is actually happening to us. And you can do this by either making a few notes on your phone or you can do it in a journal. That's what I do. Then basically what you do is when you sort of like have those feelings within yourself and you go, I want to reach out for something that's going to make me feel better. You acknowledge when this is actually happening, and then you sort of like make a little note what's going on, and you will start to notice patterns of behaviors that when this happens, then this happens. When I feel like this, then this happens. When you start acknowledging this, then we can start doing something about it and start putting in new learned behaviors to learn to deal with these situations. Now, the other thing that you can do about this is actually start building some resilience, more resilience, if you like. And how we do this is through adding stress into your life, not running away from it. There's a real thing at the moment where we want to try and avoid feeling as bad, and we just want to all we ever want to do is feel good. But actually, there's nothing wrong with that, and we should want to feel good. But we as long as we've done it consciously and we're not just hiding away. So how we do this is we actually expose ourselves to manageable amounts of stress in a repeatable, measurable and predictable way. This is so important and very, very doable, and it stays within our control. If you learn how to do that, then basically your tolerance for stress will progressively increase. And you've got to use discipline, and discipline is something we're going to talk about later on down the line in order to be able to do this. Because it has to be repeatable, it has to be measurable, it has to be predictable, and it has to be progressively harder. Now we can do this a number of ways. It doesn't have to be. My go-to has always been exercise and always been training. That's just part of who I am, and I love it. But it doesn't have to be for you. It could be anything you want. You could either learn how to play chess. You could learn how to play chess. You could learn how to play I don't know, like learn to do a magic trick. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. The outcome being is it has to be progressively harder, predictable, measurable, and repeatable. And that's it. When you think of your thing, comment below. Let me know. Tell me what you've learned. Tell me what thing you've picked up, or what you want to do that's going to help you build resilience. Please leave it in the comments, and I'll comment back. But that's it. That's how resilience works, and you can actually build it. You can actually build it, and yes, it will be a bit uncomfortable, but that's the point. But take the uncomfortableness away from it. Sorry, learn to be uncomfortable, and take it back control over being comfortable. Take back control and be uncomfortable on your terms, not someone else's terms. Okay. Anyway, that's the video for today. I hope you got a lot out of that. If you have, then please feel free to subscribe. Hit the little alarm bell button thing, notification, there you go, notification button, and I'll let you know. Don't forget to comment below. Let me know what challenging thing that you want to take on. I'll make sure that I comment back, and I'll see you in the next video where we're going to be talking about discipline.